Okay, so we're back. Just let me save here. Let's just save over this.
An empty shelf.
Okay, well, let's press the shelf.
Aha!
Oh, it's a
cleverly disguised
Okay,
button.
let's go save Hanson. Hanson, we're coming. We're coming, Hanson. It's okay, buddy.
Babe!
Okay. Hi, Hanson.
002YZ1 is written on the paper.
002.
This I don't understand.
Okay, that must be the password.
Ah!
Who are you?
Hey! No more!
Kurt will suffer for this.
Does it still hurt you?
Does it still hurt you?
Ah!
I'll be back as soon.
Ah!
Okay, so now.
I have to get out of here to make it work.
Alright. So let's leave. Go back and talk to Hanson. No.
It doesn't hurt me at all!
That's disgusting. I see my
Oh,
boss
that
is
is
really creative.
That poor man. Doesn't hurt me.
It doesn't hurt me! That bastard! How could he do this?
I fear it's not yet over.
Poor thing.
And who or what are you? Did the ladybird send you?
No.
Well, I'm here sort of on my own. They wrapped me in this sheet and sent me here, but now I feel that my interest is sort of different from theirs.
Although, let's go through this. Already I know what happened, some things. Tell me what really happened.
Although I already know some things, tell me what really happened.
How did you know about me?
Sorry.
First from Neil's diary, then from Larissa, Dirac and Scott. And finally I found out that you've been tortured by Kurt. Thanks to his diary I figured out how to help you.
Interesting. I would never have expected the ghost in the sheet to help me. But on the other hand, I would probably never have expected to end up like this. Let me start from the beginning. I worked in Omega for almost 15
That's a long
years.
time.
For the whole time, I never had an interest in what was actually being produced in here. We had to sign a very complicated contract upon our entry, where we, amongst other things, had to promise that we wouldn't ask any questions. I was expecting that thanks to the secret nature of the factory, it would produce some weapons. I couldn't have been further from the truth. In reality, the influence of Sector Omega reaches far beyond the grave. The device produced by Sector Omega is in reality a very sophisticated ghost-catching gadget, which uses the moment just before the soul leaves the body for good. It flies a bit above the body and then up and away. But if anybody activates the ghost catcher at that moment, the soul is caught and transported to the so-called tunnel. From there, it's brought to the big boss who enslaves it.
But that would mean that this device must be operated by someone who gets in touch with dying people.
Doctors?
Exactly. And we have clear
doctors and
suspects,
priests.
doctors and priests.
So what happened to us?
After a while you'd be dead, but that's not what we want. I'll be glad to introduce you to our boss.
What's that for?
You'll see.
Oh, poor guy. He had no clue.
Father, may I be given the last sacrament?
But of course, in nomine Patris et Filii et...
What's that, Father?
The only Holy Ghost in here is yours. and we have a great use for it.
That's terrible. I guess that's what happened to us after we were hit by that car. He used that thingy on us, and then, poof, here we are.
Do you have any idea how big this conspiracy is?
Fairly huge. According to my information, Omega was supposed to supply all those involved around the world in the next 2 years or so. Also, this knowledge is already contained in the official medical education materials and church doctrines.
Yikes.
But how did you find out about all this?
It's a long story, but it started when I caught that bastard hiding something in the locker. That locker which, officially, was broken and unopenable.
We opened it.
Of course, he slammed it shut and played dumb, but I knew that something wasn't right. So I started to thoroughly explore the dressing rooms and realized that all this is a very intricate locking mechanism. Talk about darkness under the lamp.
I've noticed that much. Were those your notes I found?
Yup. And finally I opened it and found a ghost catcher inside. So I stole it and hid it for a closer examination later. I remember it was the day the fire started in Omega. Anyway, not long after I grabbed the ghost catcher, the problem with the cellar door started. I don't want to make this any longer, but I
So
descended
ladybirds
to the
are
cellar,
the
and there were the
guys.
ladybirds already waiting for me. They told me what's going on, and they wanted the machine from me. I gave it to them, and they explained to me what it's for. But I
Okay,
didn't
so
know
they
that
have
it'd
it.
end up like that. Some really disgusting,
Ha, we
sleazy
fed 'em
creature
to-
made this out of me.
Monster.
If it helps you, the only thing which remains of that disgusting creature is a single bone.
And that bastard
Dead.
cat.
He turned into a walking void.
At least that's something.
Who are the ladybirds?
Who are the ladybirds?
I'm not sure, but probably from a similar place as the so-called bosses. Maybe some counterweight, but I don't know anything else since there was no time for questions. They asked me instead.
They asked who he was? I'm confused. Who is my boss?
Who really is my boss?
Nobody knows where he's from, but his goal is to have a constant stream of slaves. I don't have any idea how he manipulates humans, but he obviously has his means. And also a very strong servant.
He did have one.
Sorry about yawning. Tell me about Niels.
Tell me about Niels.
Niels was my big hope. As soon as I sensed that I was in a big mess, I told him about the cellar, and I hoped he could back me up.
Poor
Unfortunately,
Niels.
it didn't work out.
How do you know that?
The boss's servant got him. He made something really weird out of him. Once Kurt brought him in some sort of jar, and then he let him loose to scare some workers.
Huh. So I guess
Such
he
a
is that thing that
bastard.
goes.
What? If this isn't the creature I freed from the locker and then from the tube post?
If he's still flying around, we might have a chance. Kurt doesn't know that we, who are beyond death, are able to communicate on a higher level. Niels gave me back the scary sound essence. I can't use it myself, but if you were able to create an improvised musical instrument and use the essence on it, you'll obtain the ability to communicate with Niels. Before Kurt let him loose, Niels gave me a message that he needs to speak with me urgently. You'll understand
Okay,
that
so I
it was
guess-
unfortunately not possible in my
Okay.
condition.
So now we have scary
So
sound.
now go and make some instrument and transform the essence into it. Then contact Niels. Hopefully he